I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, season's greetings to everyone. This will be my last blog of the year. It'll be my year-end blog. I'll probably leave it up for a couple of weeks. I'm going to be more than likely away, sitting under a palm tree when this airs. But I thought in this blog, like I do a lot of years, I'll give you kind of a recap of the year that was 2024, both from a real estate perspective as well as my own personal portfolio in the stock market, my real estate business, running my team. And then I'll give you guys my predictions of kind of where I see 2025 shaping up for the real estate market in Vancouver here. So, 2024 was a strange year, probably one of the strangest I've had in about a decade in Vancouver real estate. Every year I tell you guys, I at the end of the year, I'm sitting under a palm tree, I'll grab a Corona, I bring a journal book that I've had for about 15 years, large book. In there, I kind of record at the end of the year. I look at a lot of different areas of my life. My real estate business, running my real estate team at Macdonald Realty. How many homes did we sell? What was our average sale price? What is my total commissions earned for the year? I also look at my real estate portfolio, rents collected. Was I able to increase rents on any of my properties this year? Mortgage renewals on my properties at what rates and that kind of thing. So I'll go through that with you guys. Then I'll have a quick look at my stock portfolio. What my total portfolio is at the end of the year compared to last year. And that, again, this year is beyond my wildest dreams. If you guys are an investor, especially in US equities, it's been another incredible year, way beyond where I ever thought we would be at. And then I look at some of my other sources of income, things like my YouTube channel, my book sales, and I've got other ventures that I'm involved in and other investments. So let's kick it off with real estate. It was a strange year. This year, it started off slow. We had a pretty decent spring market, which we usually do. Spring is the busiest time of the year for home sales, especially being a listing specialist like I am. Had a great spring. It didn't last long though. It lasted all of about 2 months. I sold a lot of homes in those 2 months. And I'm thinking, boy, this is good. We've got some interest rate cuts coming later this year when we get into the summer. And I thought this is shaping up to be a good year. But it quickly fizzled out. The summer, we got our first quarter point cut, and that was a big yawn by buyers. We got a second quarter point cut, another big yawn. A third one, nothing, maybe a slight uptake. The summer was probably the slowest I've had in probably 7 or 8 years for sales. Now, on a personal note, I won't get into it. It was also a difficult year for me this year because I had to have I had a training injury and have to have surgery on my leg. So I was laid up a little bit for summer and was relying and referring a lot of business. So it was a strange year that way as well. The fall market, we finally got a 50 basis point cut, which didn't do as much as I thought at first. But starting in late October, it started to pick up sales a fair bit. So late fall market, now as we're heading into winter, has definitely picked up. On a quick note, I would say, if you guys, over the summer months, I had some really good homes for sale. Many I had to reduce. I had a lot of it was lowball offer season. I had some embarrassingly low offers on some homes. Luckily, most of my sellers were not under the gun to have to sell. In some cases, I have that, where the seller is leaving the country or has to close a deal at before a certain date. Then there's a little more desperation. It's rare. Most of my clients will take my guidance and we're not under the gun to sell. So in a lot of cases, we turn down a lot of these lowball offers. On the buying side, I picked up several really good deals for some of my buying clients in the West End, Yaletown, out in Richmond as well. Now, if you're watching this video now, I can tell you that if you're a lowballer looking to pick up a great deal on a condo, I would say you've probably missed the boat there. It's already sailed because October sales were up, as I blogged about 26%. November sales were also way up, something over 25%. As this airs, we do not have the December numbers yet. Those won't come out until early in the new year. But I can tell you now, December is going to be another strong month. Maybe I'm just predicting this one of the best Decembers we've had in many years. I've already got 4 firm deals in December, and I'm expecting several more before I leave for vacation. So December is also a strong month. Prices now, it's funny, I had some condos that in the summertime you could have offered, below ask, negotiated a price. Now I'm getting very close to full ask for those. I just had one recently where ran a public open house, had a couple of interested buyers, and ended up getting into a small bidding war on it. So I think the boat is sailed now on if you were looking to lowball and get some crazy good deal. Because I would get a lot of calls from realtors. My buyer's looking for a good deal. I'm sure he is. You could do that in the summer, early fall. It's over now. So I look at my business and my and where I'm at from a number of different points. So I'll give you some of my personal stuff here. Real estate this year, I sold actually for the first time in a lot of years, slightly fewer homes this year than I did last year and the year before, which is very rare. I've been on for the last 12 years, a gradual step up where I sell more homes every year. The good news is my average sale price was up, which it has been again for the last 10 years steady. Part of the reason, of course, prices continue to go up, so of course your average sale price goes up. But the more you're established as a realtor in this business, you tend to sell higher price echelons. So I sell a lot more luxury condos, a lot more detached homes than I did 10 years ago. Total commissions, real estate-wise, slightly down for me, which is super rare compared to the previous years. Now, my real estate portfolio, I had a good year. I was able to place 2 new tenants this year at substantially higher rents, so that's good. But even better, I had, and I blogged about it here over the last few months, I had 2 mortgage renewals. Both were fixed term mortgages that I was able to renew substantially less than what they were. I don't have any mortgage renewals coming up in 2025. I do have 2 coming up in 2026. One of them is fixed at 2.8%. I locked that in almost 4 years ago at 2.81%. And then I've got a variable that comes up in 2026 as well, which will probably be lower by the time I renew it. We'll see. But I'm getting the reductions as they go on that. So from that standpoint, my real estate portfolio was great. Moving on to my stock portfolio, another epic year. I mean, I've blogged about it a little bit on Twitter. I always set some goals where I'd like to see my stock portfolio the following year. And I always put those goals fairly optimistic because I'm always contributing money into my portfolio. I'm still in my working years, so I'm contributing a fair bit of new capital. I've got a large portfolio that's spinning off another well into 6 figures in dividends for me now. So, right there is a couple $100K going into my portfolio every year without doing anything. But it's beyond my wildest dreams. I think my overall portfolio this year was up. Most of my stocks, as you guys know, are in US equities and index funds. I'm probably pretty close to 90% now in US dollar owning US equities and about 10% in Canadian. But even the TSX had a good year. Bank stocks. But my total portfolio was probably up over 27, 28% in and around there, according to my brokerage account, plus my dividends. So we're pushing pretty close to 30%. In there, I had some stuff like an Eli Lilly and some of my tech stuff that was up 35, 40, 45%, 50% or more. I had a few duds in there. BCE, dog, I'm hanging on to it. It's paying me a pretty rich dividend rate now. But I had a few duds in there, but that's the thing about having a diversified portfolio or just index investing. Not all your holdings are going to pull their weight. Some will, some won't. But overall, it was another epic year for my investment portfolio. So looking forward, let's take a quick look at 2025. So again, as I said earlier, I think you've already missed the boat if you were looking to get some steal on a condo or a house. The market has already shifted, which often happens. That first 50 basis point hike was a little bit of a delay. Like I've always said, you get a slow year in Vancouver real estate, it's like holding a balloon underwater. There's just too much demand here, too little supply. You're not going to keep it down for long, and we've seen that in the last couple of months of 2024. I do think that's going to continue into 2025. As I'm doing this video, we've got another rate announcement here on December 11th. I'm shooting this a little early. Probably going to get at least a 25 or maybe a 50 basis point cut. Folks, make no bones about this. I still see a lot of people very confused on Twitter and on YouTube. They're cutting the rates here. Inflation now is pretty much in check. Now it's about the Canadian economy. We are in a recession in Canada. The media, which is bought and paid for by the socialist liberals, and the liberals will never admit to this, they're masking it. They're masking it with immigration. They're masking it with government spending. Most of the spending that's going on in Canada is government spending, increasing the debt, little things like increasing the capital gains tax, which push forward a whole bunch of tax revenue. We are in a recession in Canada, so we have no choice to cut rates fairly aggressively here over the next year. We're going to get one in December, and I'm expecting more rate cuts early next year. Proof is the Canadian peso, which is now at a 4-year low, and I think the Canadian peso will continue to drop. And that's why I tell you guys, I was doing some stuff on Twitter, on X, telling you guys you should be owning US equities. I'm a proud Canadian, but when it comes to investing, outside of the Canadian banks, a little bit of telco, Enbridge, Fortis, Brookfield Asset Management, that is about it. I also own XEI, which is the Canadian High Dividend ETF with iShares. After that, all 90% of my portfolio is in US equities in US dollars, because of course the US dollar has been one of my best performers against the Canadian dollar this year, and it's going to continue. You guys should have most of your retirement funds in US equities, and I would put them in US dollars. One of the reasons I want them only in US dollars, is because, I spend a lot of time in the United States. My goal here when I finally do retire full time is probably spend about half my year in the US. Areas like California, Florida, Hawaii, Palm Springs, Arizona. And so I do not want to be at the whim of the Canadian peso, having to take my Canadian dollars and get, 58 cents back for every Canadian dollar in US funds. I just want to be able to draw out dividends when I need it. It's tied to my US credit card, and I don't have to worry about it. 2025. I see 2025 shaping up to be a pretty strong year in Vancouver real estate. Time will tell, but the writing is on the wall. Interest rates are coming down. There was some pent-up demand. Buyers were on the sidelines for most of 2024. You're starting to see them come out now. Part of it is that last 50 basis point cut, and then the forecast for more to come. Smart buyers, I think, are getting ahead of it, which I've done a couple of blogs on. Why wait until we get 2 or 3 more cuts? By that time, instead of being able to put an offer in on a condo and negotiating the price, or perhaps maybe just having one other offer, you're going to be back in it where you're getting 6, 7 offers. And that gets very difficult for buyers. Now you're having to write subject free, and you're going 20, 30, 40, 50,000 over asking. That's what starts to inflate the prices, and that's where you start to see the prices starting to rise month over month on our daily stat sheet here. So I think 2025 is going to shape up to be a pretty strong year. We'll see. Stay tuned for more updates. Final thing I'll leave you guys with. You guys know I'm an optimist. I am a proud Canadian. I am extremely optimistic moving forward on Canada. We just had the election in the United States. I think the United States is shaping up to have a pretty strong year there too, under Trump. I know, love him or hate him, he's good for the economy, make no bones about it. He's got some smart people that are working for him, including Elon Musk, RFK Jr., heading up his health committee. I am optimistic here that we are going to get these socialist liberals, NDP, kicked to the curb here. If Justin ever, drops his ego for a minute and calls an election, he has to call an election by October. He should hopefully call an election well before that, and we are going to have a conservative government. I think we're going to reestablish our ties with the United States. We're going to get rid of the carbon tax. We're going to start stimulating the economy. We're going to reduce corporate taxes. He's going to do a lot of good things for this country. I know some of you will disagree, but I am very optimistic. We should be absolutely booming in Canada here. It's just tragic what's happened to this country over the last 7 or 8 years under Trudeau and the NDP coalition here. We've got fresh air, clean drinking water, educated workforce. We've got resources on top of resources that we could be selling, stimulating the economy. We're taxed to death. Corporations do not want to invest in this country right now because they don't trust our government, and I don't blame them. So I am extremely optimistic moving forward here into 2025 on Canada's future. I wish we could have gotten a government change here provincially, but it is what it is. So again, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone has an enjoyable holiday season. Thank you to all my new subscribers that joined me this year. I get so many wonderful, emails and comments in here from people that have watched me for years or have bought my book. Thank you very much. I'm happy to do it. I love doing this blog, as you guys know. It's a way to give back, and if I can, that's fantastic. I know people sometimes don't agree with everything I say, but I think, hey, if you go back and look at my blog for the last 10 years or so, I don't know. I think my track record speaks for itself, guys. I think I've been pretty accurate with pretty much everything I've said, and people that have followed my advice over the last 10 or 12 years, I think have done very well. Don't try and time markets. Who knows where the real estate market's going to go, to be honest. Buy your principal residence sooner than later. Get out of that renter treadmill. Enjoy the home and keep it. Don't trade in and out of it because it's extremely expensive to buy and sell real estate in Canada and in Vancouver, especially in Vancouver, with the PTT and the GST and everything else. I'm Owen Bigland. See you in 2025.